Hi everyone, and welcome to Art Smart. From time to time I like to talk about books from subjects that are not just about pure fine art, but just the arts in general. And one subject that I like to really talk about is animation. It's one of my favorite all-time subjects, and it's one of my favorite applications for art. I want to show you a book today called The Animated Movie Guide, and it's by Jerry Beck. If you are not somebody who knows the animation realm of things, you may not have heard of Jerry Beck, but if you are an animated film person, you would really like Jerry Beck, or at least know who he is. He is a film historian. He has worked with Leonard Maltin and pretty much everybody that is in the animated film, and has had any touch of new movies that are being put out, new films that are being created for television, and of course he just rubs a lot of elbows with people that are animation historians, and he runs Cartoon Brew on the internet. Now, he is somebody that wants to make sure people know about all kinds of different animated films, and so this book, The Animated Movie Guide, does a surprisingly good job of doing that. He pretty much tells us about any film that was released in the United States, from pretty much Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Actually, no, before that. He also talks about a silent film, The Adventures of Prince Ahmed, from 1927, and it goes all the way up through the early 2000s. He gives a brief description of each film. He talks about the cultural relevance, if it's a larger film that's had a lot of impact, and he gives a brief review. Now, I think he does a pretty good job about touching on everything. He gives relatively equal weight to things that are not so great, like films that were created from just putting packages of cartoons together, 7 or 8 Looney Tunes, and then putting them into a feature film. He gives that about the same weight as he gives a large Disney feature. So if you are somebody who just wants to know a lot about everything, he does a pretty good job of giving everybody their time and talking through the good and the bad of the films. I think he does a pretty good job about talking why some films which don't have a great reputation maybe should be looked at differently. And he also talks quite a bit about certain films that have a lot of respect, and why maybe it's been overrated a little bit. So I think he does an interesting job of mixing in fact with his own personal critique. If there's any negative to this book, it's that sometimes I just don't agree with his critique, but that's okay. I think that's part of the fun, in not only telling us about the movies, but also giving us a little bit of a mix-up of how we look at it. I think he does a pretty good job of balancing those two things together, and I really do enjoy that. If there is any other thing about this particular book that I'm not crazy about is in some cases I think pictures would be a good thing. I think most people that would buy this book would want to know quite a bit about animation because they love the animated film realm. And so I think if they made this book a little bit larger and included more pictures, yes, it would be more expensive and it would be larger, but the animated film realm would probably really enjoy this book and be willing to spend a few extra bucks in order to get all kinds of pictures. So that's one other small critique that I have. But as it is, it's a relatively small volume. It's a good coffee table book. It's a good way to look over animated films and to learn about some obscure ones and, of course, larger films. And I think he does a pretty good job of balancing all those things together. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for joining me for another book review, and I hope that you continue to art smart. Bye-bye, everybody.